Hello everyone, my name is Amir-Ahmadi and I'm the founder of Niushah Coaching. In this program, I walk you step by step through a good CV, a CV which makes the most impression and help you to be seen by the recruiter or the hiring manager. We have used these steps literally for thousands of CVs, creating some results, namely being invited for the interview. To go further, I would share some presentation that you can see on my screen. Here it is.
Now, first thing first, choose a nice and good-looking template. A good template is attractive to watch and invites people to read it further. Also, it is important that one can easily explore your data. The template that I like to suggest is this format. It has all the necessary parts and elements. For instance, it has a photo, it has a contact information, education, skills, profile, work experience, everything you should share with the recruiter. You can change this order. It's not necessarily to have the order that I have shown here. You can also use a different colors here as you wish. First, let me talk about the photo before I leave this page. Photo makes it more personal. It helps the reader to form an image of you rather than just a piece of paper, which is your CV. Next section should be your contact information and personal data. Your name, your family name, your address, your email address, phone number, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good idea to have these days. More information are not that necessary for most of the countries. This is just enough for most countries. But if you are an expat, you better to write about your job permission. It's not necessary to write about the age or marital status because you should not be discriminated by those. Next, write about your profile. Your profile is the most important part of your CV. It should be short but strong. It has to introduce you. It has to tell the reader why you are a good candidate and why should they consider you. Therefore, write about your character, write about your background, relevant background to the job, and your ambition and motivation. What motivates you as a person? What kind of character do you have? This forms a good image of you. Next section should be either your education or work experience. We do and write everything on inverse chronological way. It means the newest things we write the first and the oldest things we write the last, or in a lower order. So let's assume your last activity was a job. You must write about the years, months, preferably, which company you have worked for or organization, what function you had. These are very general. And also then you describe below those what were your achievements and your responsibilities. What to write about here, I will discuss later on this presentation. We should not write too much or too little. Either way, it disqualifies you. Similar to your work experience, you should write about your education. By the education, I mean some activities that resulted in some academical degrees. The format should just be similar to job experience. If you followed any trainings for which specifically you acquired some certificates, and if those trainings are very relevant for the job that you are applying, and you can find this through reading the job description, it's better to have a separate section for this part. Then it comes your skills. Make a section or sections about your skills, specifically about your computer skills, your language skills, and some others. That depends on what you have done and what are your knowledges, which deserve to have a section. Those are very essential part of your knowledge, and therefore you will be qualified based on those. Last but not the least, write about your volunteer work and your hobbies. This helps the reader to picture who you are and what you do in your free time, and what kind of character you have. It also sometimes creates a chit-chat just before an interview, which breaks the ice between you and the interviewer. A chit-chat before the interview is very important because it makes some kind of relation between you and the interviewer and a kind of rapport. And it affects the result of the interview ultimately. I will come to this in a different video, which is belong to interview, not here. But it's very important So don't hesitate to write this part in favor of writing too much other things. These are very important part. The order that you should write the CV is the order that I suggest here, from the top to bottom. The most important part should come on the top because it has to invite the people to read it further. If they don't find the right information as they wish, they don't read it further and go down below. Don't waste your time to write unnecessary information on top or tell too much a story at the beginning and miss the opportunity to give the right information to the reader. They want to know you are a good candidate as soon as possible. And if they find you are a reasonable candidate, they will read it through your CV and go further until they get all the information. I just told you about what to write about your responsibility and your achievement. What exactly do you write? You should not write too much, you should not write too little. But what are those things that you should write in your CV? The most important piece of information that you have comes from the job description. Analyze the job description thoroughly and carefully. Drive some keywords from the job description because the job description wrote by the hiring manager most likely, and the hiring manager wrote and used those keywords as much as he or she thought those are important parts to be emphasized. The achievement and responsibility that you have to write in your CV should be formed around those keywords. Search within your experience or education what have you done which are related to those keywords, and you can quote those keywords in your responsibility or your achievements under your job experience or your education. In writing all of those, you should use a STAR method. If you don't know the STAR method, I will briefly talk through the STAR method here. A STAR method stands for situation, task, action, result. And sometimes people write it with the double R. It's about also reflection. It's a natural way of talking. I use this example to show how you can use the STAR method. In the project X, as the lead engineer, I work on the design of a new concept using AutoCAD according to the customer requirement. As the result of the project, the availability of the product improved by 30%. It has all the elements of the STAR method. First of all, it talks about the situation. It was within a project X. What was your role? You were the lead engineer and you were the designer. Some of the activity that you have done, you have designed some concept using AutoCAD and you have obtained some result, in this case, improve the availability of a system or a product by 30%. This way of talking gives a lot of confidence to the reader that you really know what you are talking about. And also I highlighted AutoCAD here, or simply CAD, because I assume that CAD or AutoCAD is one of the important computer skills of this candidate. And it's been written in the computer skills. But that's not enough to only have this keyword only one time at your computer skills. You should repeat and reuse these keywords elsewhere where you have had this experience. This presentation that I just shared with you are the most important part of the CV. If you write your CV according to these rules or these steps, you will create the most impact on the recruiter and the hiring manager. The last parts that I have been telling you about how to write and how to use the STAR method are the most important part. How to derive a keyword and how to quote and use the keywords. Even using this presentation, it might be very difficult at the beginning to write a good CV. You can improve it by practice and practice. I can understand this could be still very difficult to write a good CV. If you need a professional coaching for writing your CV or checking your CV, you can always contact me by calling me or writing me an email. You can visit my website to find all the contact information. Have a good day and I wish you success.